have oh, good idea. I've got
You have the anadromous. Is that how you pronounce your name?
anadromous. Yes, you got it.
Yeah, yeah, you do have it on. You do have the phonetics on your film freeway submission. I see that.
Yeah,
So,
because nobody knows what that word is.
well, Ari Grubb was with us. LGBTQ plus short film, 5 minutes, really great stop motion, animation, music video. What is what what is the meaning of the title of your film?
Well, that's a great question. So the word anadromous refers to a kind of fish or kind of fish behavior, and it's a kind of fish that is categorized by growing up in freshwater and then migrating to seawater to spawn. So this is like salmon, smelt, other fish that kind of travel upstream to get
Yeah.
to a breeding ground.
Is there something the opposite? Did this fish go in the opposite direction?
Yeah, there is an opposite kind. And I forget what that word is, but I used to know it off the top of my head. And it's the fish that start in seawater and then they go to freshwater. And I think that's a lot of eels.
Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah. Okay, so what is the symbolic meaning of the title then?
Great question. So I made this film when I was processing coming out to my very evangelical Christian family. And I was doing a lot of unpacking about the environment that I grew up in and the environment that I find myself thriving in now. So I'm kind of making a parallel between these fish that start off in freshwater and kind of find themselves in a completely different place. Um, and to my own situation where I grew up in an environment where I felt like I couldn't evolve, felt like I
Yeah.
evolved out of it to find community and like how I was meant to evolve personally. I'm also kind of making some parallels between like coming out of the closet and evolution and like finding a new version of
Yeah.
yourself. Evolution was not something that I was taught as a kid. I was kind of like supposed to learn creationism. So that's kind of like another level that's tied in there.
Okay, so then the film from a this like from a kind of a standard level is about coming out, but at the same
Yes.
time, I can call a universal story about people just evolving and people kind of leaving their past behind. So let
Yeah,
me
which I
ask
think
you,
everybody has to do. Yeah.
well, yeah, but easier said than done,
Yeah,
right?
right.
So, yeah, most people don't. Let's just put it that way, right? So,
Exactly.
because it's tough, right? Because you're brought up in an environment that's all you know, right?
Hmm.
It's all
Yeah,
you see, it's all you observe, right? So it's hard. You can
exactly.
read about something on a theoretical level, but until you kind of make that plunge and face the waters of the world, then
Right.
that's, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's tough. Nobody, it's hard to do.
exactly. Yeah, it takes a really big push.
So, okay, so then the question I have too is that from my experience, you kind of have to like it's almost like a you have to leave it all behind. It's hard to like you can't have dip your toes in the waters of that
Yeah.
past. So is that what you ha unfortunately had to do?
Yeah, you have to, at a certain point, you have to learn how to take a plunge and you have to
Yeah.
learn that, like I fought for my place to be here and to get out of that environment. And it's in my best interest to learn to be proud of it and not think about what I'm missing out on and like the past and like what people think of you because you found a new version of yourself that's evolved. You live in an environment that supports you, where you're happy and that's always going to be worth it.
But these are your parents, right? That's tough.
I mean, thankfully, like making this film as a process has like me and my parents have really connected over it and had some really productive conversations. And the whole process went really, really well, which I was really afraid of when I started making it. Like I was really unsure how this would go over with my family.
Yeah.
And I think making this film about it and making art about it to process it was good for everybody because we kind
Yeah.
of found this middle ground to like understand each other with.
It sounds like they evolved, they were forced to evolve too.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah. Well, it's I don't know the ins and outs, but basically most in that environment don't believe in homosexuality, right? So or they
Yeah.
don't the church is frowns upon it, whatever that means, right? So
Yeah,
they
exactly. And
have
I
to
was
like
definitely
contradict their own belief system of what they grew up with it themselves, right?
Yeah, which is hard to do. It's hard to unpack like a very core belief about how you think that the world functions. And for someone that you love, that can be really difficult to do, but it's really like I it's a really big deal for me that that worked out and that they were able to like kind of unpack that belief with me. It's I feel very lucky.
Because I'm sure they have like judgments from their peers and etc., right? That sometimes you lose friendships, etc.,
Right.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the same kind of taking a plunge and taking that risk.
Well, good for you. That sounds like a. I'm sure it wasn't an easy ending, but it sounds like it's been a positive experience, a
Oh
happy
yeah,
ending. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. And I really didn't know how it was going to turn out. So I'm glad that it like everything is kind of falling into place.
And so I'm assuming previous generations were closeted, I guess, their whole lives, right? Because I'm not
Yeah,
saying it's easy, but I'm saying it probably is easier than it was, say, 50 years ago.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So I feel very lucky to be um not that being queer is easy right now, not that being trans is easy right now,
Yeah.
but I feel like I definitely have more support now than I would have 5 or 10 years ago for sure.
So this was done at Tufts University,
Yeah, Boston, Massachusetts.
Boston, Massachusetts. And so this was your kind of your thesis film, or
This was my MFA thesis film. Yeah.
so what's the process of did you make previous films before this film at the school?
Yes. Yeah. Well, this is, I was only at the school for 2 years, and my first year I kind of spent preparing for this big project, not really knowing what it was going to be, and it went through a lot of different iterations. So this film only took 9 months between like October and April of
Only took
my
nine
last
months.
film.
5 minute film took nine
Yeah.
months.
Yeah, I know. Well, that was like very, very rushed. It was fast. I had to do it really quickly. I had really no other choice. Um, but I've made other films when I was an undergrad as an animation major. I've done a couple films just personally. I've done films that are commissioned. So this is maybe like my five or six film, really. But yeah, I would say it's like the biggest scale that I've ever had to do.
Okay, so let's talk about the making of the film. So,
Mhm.
I would you consider it kind of a musical, like because it's an animation stop motion, but it's funny as well, right?
I'm glad you think that. Yeah, I would also consider it a musical. It's definitely like a
Musical.
musical comedy adventure
So was the
drama.
first step is finding the music itself? Did you know already what you were going to do?
Yeah, well, once I kind of came up with the theme that I wanted to explore, I knew that I wanted it set to classical music. So I went out to find like the pieces that would function well, both with the timing of the film and also fitting the tone and the mood. And I knew that I wanted two different songs, one for this beginning environment where the fish start out in the fish tank, and then a
Hmm.
new song once they leave and they go on this journey. And I think deciding on the second song, the Carnival of the Animals finale, was easiest because, first of all, it's like recognizable and it's very joyful and it has a really great crescendo and a finale that builds up. I just felt like the joy and the energy really fit well. And I love the symbolism behind that music too, the Carnival of the Animals, that like it's kind of a celebration of nature and there's kind of like a parade and it just all the imagery surrounding this song fit like it fit really well into the story.
Was it
And
public
finding
domain?
the
Everything was public domain?
oh yeah, yeah, all
Yeah.
pretty much like if it's over 100 years old, you can kind of license it for free. So that's a good reason to work with classical music because you don't have to worry about paying somebody.
So I didn't mean to
Um,
interrupt you, but go ahead. Yeah, what you were going to say.
oh yeah, no worries. The first song took more time to find, like finding this kind of like slightly dismal but mysterious kind of sad music to be at the beginning. I didn't want it to feel really sad. So, but I wasn't really sure how I wanted it to feel. And I stumbled across this Vivaldi piece that's there's like opera in it and it's like slow and sprawling and very beautiful. Um, and I really enjoyed the sound of it and the mood of it. But what really sold me on picking this song, was looking at the lyrics and translating it from Italian, which I did like just on Google Translate, which was not a very detailed translation.
Yeah.
Um, but it's based on a psalm from the Bible. And that same psalm in the Bible is used by evangelical Christians. Like I kind of went down a rabbit hole with this. It's used to justify a specific evangelical group called the Quiverful movement that is
Okay.
basically all about having tons of kids so that they all vote Republican. And the more I learned about this, I was like, oh my God, there's a parallel between this song and this Bible verse and the way that it's interpreted now. So that's when I knew that that song was a really good fit.
So go back. So there's something that they can. It's a manipulation. So everybody votes Republican.
Yeah, it's the Bible verse is about like children are a blessing, may your quiver be full of them.
Yeah.
And so the quiver full movement uses that verse as a manifesto to have as many children as possible so
Yeah.
that they all vote Republican.
But the thing is, though, like just a quick segue before we get to your
hmm
film. That wasn't always the case. You weren't like that seems to be the Republican Party has taken over the religious kind of sector. But it
Right.
was not always like that. It started in the 1980s. It wasn't
Yeah, it was
like
the 80s. Yeah, there
yeah,
was a big push in the 80s, and that's when this started.
because it was like that wasn't a thing back like people
Yeah.
don't know, right? But it's
Yeah,
like
it's a pretty recent phenomenon. It's like
yeah.
really fascinating.
It is because it's a whole new movie, but it's like because they kind of manipulate they spend a lot of money doing that, right? The religious
Oh
right.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
huge campaign push. But I
Yeah.
guess it would be a whole other movie to
Yeah,
be worth
Reaganomics back
exploring.
in the day, right? So yeah, it's
Yeah,
fascinating because because people like your generation or maybe not, it's like they don't know, like they just assume
right.
that, but it's yeah, it's a whole new thing, right?
Yeah, it's
So
a chicken and
okay,
the egg situation.
but I do find that song interesting, right? So, but yeah, it's you can't hide but see the racist under and sexist overtones in the
Exactly.
right. It's like they're so scared of like change of any kind, right?
Exactly,
So
exactly. Yeah, and that's definitely how I knew that this song was a really good fit to be
yeah.
like this is how this world is going to sound. This like underwater tank that's like a constricted environment. Yeah, totally.
All right. So the first 2 minutes of the film are these two fish in a tank, and you kind of move in the camera or move in the visuals on us, and then there's an apple hanging.
hmm
So I guess I can read between the lines, but what is the symbolism of the apple?
So I am trying to poke at the apple of knowledge from the Adam and Eve story, how
Yeah.
there's like this temptation of knowledge and knowing something that would like spark an entire change of the whole environment. Like everything is going to change if you take this leap and you like have this knowledge. The way that it represents like not just knowing something, but like sparking a change. And the beginning drafts of the film, I had the fish like eating the apple. And the more I use that, the more like the less I felt like they how do I put this? I didn't want them to see the apple and have that be what sparks this change for them. I wanted them to like find each other and realize like maybe it's the apple that's making them notice each other, but it's not any outside force that's a temptation or like something that's corrupting them. I wanted them to like realize that they have each other and that they could be happy outside of this environment.
and then they kiss each other, right?
Hmm.
The two fish kiss each other, then
Yeah.
the dam breaks, I guess, so to speak.
Yeah. The dam breaks.
And then they don't die. They end up going, I guess, under, and then the whole aesthetic changes of the film, right? It's almost like you got
Yeah.
two kind of tones going on, two sets of music, two tones, two kind of. So I'm assuming you kind of did the first kind of 2 minutes, right? And then that took a few months or whatever, and then you kind of shifted your
Well, I kind of had to do everything at once, just because of the nature of how fast this production moved.
you're flip-flopping back and forth. I don't know how what
Yeah,
was your
kind of
process?
flip-flopping back because they were very different. The opening sequence of the tank is shot on 16 millimeter film, which I had never done before. I had this like huge Bolex camera and these
That's
really
cool.
bright lights, and I wanted to do it on film so that it felt kind of ancient and like kind of evoking like weird old stop motion.
All right.
Um,
There's someone who's 50 years old calling film ancient is funny to
well,
me. Go
yeah.
ahead. No, 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 go
Yeah. So
ahead.
that was like that was incredibly complicated to pull off, and just organizing like how I was going to have this big camera and this big tank of water, and like who was going to help me with that. That was a lot of organizing. Um so I was kind of doing like all these different parts at once. I was making the sets, like building them and like crafting this bar with the like the walls and the lights and everything. And I was also animating puppets, and I was also organizing this camera team to help me with the camera, and also digitizing the film, also doing 2D animation in the beginning sequence, making so many puppets. It was a lot of different things, but it was fun because I got to jump around from one project to the next.
Yeah, it's really great what you did. And then okay, so then after the dam breaks, the tank breaks, they go down into kind of the because like going down kind of symbolizes something, right? So
Yeah, yeah. They're kind of descending into the deepest parts of the ocean. And I kind of have a fascination with weird, gross kind of sea creatures that like never see the light of day, and they're like kind of contained to this like deepest part of the ocean because they're the only kind of creatures that can survive under that kind of pressure.
yeah.
And I think that there's a great parallel between that kind of sea creature that's adapted to fit into this restrictive environment, and queer people. And I am kind of making the parallel between an environment where all these different sea creatures like have evolved and adapted to live under this, under these conditions, just like queer people have like kind of found in a community, under restrictive conditions.
But I guess they've said that they've only really discovered like 20% of the ocean as well,
Right, yeah, like less than the solar system or something.
which is kind of crazy, right? Like so
Yeah,
they're going into these areas of the ocean that hasn't really been discovered by humans yet, right? So
yeah,
okay, so then they go down in the ocean and then they're evolving, they're getting legs, I guess, right?
exactly, exactly, yeah. And roller skates.
And roller skates, of course, right? What
Yeah.
is there, not to overthink your film, but is there a symbolism with the roller skates?
Well, I knew I wanted them to have legs, so that they evolved, and like there was some kind of physical visualization that they had evolved.
Yeah.
Um, but animating like walking legs is so difficult. Sorry, my cat is going crazy.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
Fluffle. Hey, no, no. Um, what was I saying? It's really
Roller
hard to
skates.
animate walking
Yeah.
legs, and I didn't want to have to do that. And it's complicated with stop motion because you have to bolt down the feet of the puppets.
Yeah.
So putting them on roller skates, they just kind of zip around, and they
Oh.
don't have to be tied down to anything really. You don't have to animate a walk cycle. It's just kind of them like skirting around.
So it was
Hey,
a
dude.
practical matter then.
Yeah, basically. But also I felt like it was really fun and silly, which kind of fit the tone of the film.
So how did you do like the stop motion? You kind of just like set up an area and kind of
Yep.
camera, like what was the process?
Yeah, I had a few different areas in the studio space where I went to grad school. I kind of like took over this whole area with like kind of like tents to like block out any kind of light. And I would crouch down on the floor with my bright lights and my camera and these little fish puppets. And I would do that for a couple hours a day for a few months, which was very
Wow.
exhausting.
And yeah, was it like emotionally exhausting or like just like because
Um,
it's so tedious, I guess, right?
Yeah, definitely tedious. I think it would have been more emotionally exhausting if I wasn't having so much fun. And I was working with other people, which was great. Like I had like whatever friend was around the studios, I would have them help me for a little bit and we would like talk and have a good time. And it was fun making the stuff and it was like it's very gratifying to play back your animation and see everything move. And that's you get a lot of motivation out of that, or you learn to.
And then you just kind of piece it together in editing, kind of like,
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of compositing where I had to take like a lot of green screen animation of the fish zipping around on roller skates and putting them in an actual like background.
yeah.
Um yeah, there was a lot of like After Effects editing for sure.
So the first step was to draw everything, kind of create the creatures and then kind of make them, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. I did a lot of sketches. I made the physical puppets and then I made the sets also. Like the bar at the end is a physical like cardboard box with the bar and there's like flags and just a lot of different stuff that I had to build.
Wow. It sounds like
Yeah.
a real like great. Would you want to do this again?
I think so, but I would not want to do it this fast. Because I think that was exhausting. Like give me 3 years and I'll do it again.
I'm assuming you passed.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, made it out. Got the degree.
And then you kind of decided to send it to festivals, get it out
Oh
there.
yeah. Yeah, I am lucky enough to, well, I got a job after graduating and I'm a professor of animation now. And
Oh,
as a
wow.
new professor, yeah, I got some startup funds to fund my own personal work. So I got a budget to put into film festival submissions. So I am really, really lucky that I got to send it out to as many festivals as I did.
So you this is at Tufts. You're a professor now?
No, not at Tufts. I actually moved across the country to Washington State. So I'm at Pacific Lutheran University.
Okay. How do you like
Yeah.
it? How do you like the West Coast?
Oh, I love it. I love it. It's the East Coast is so there's just like a hustle culture at the East Coast that I was so used to, and I feel like I can just breathe
Yeah,
out
it
here.
definitely is a hustle culture. That said,
Yeah.
like Seattle's a pretty like, capitalistic marketplace there. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm in Tacoma and it's way more chill over here.
Where did you grow up? Where did you live?
I grew up in Boston.
Oh, you grew up born and raised in Boston.
Yeah, born and raised in Boston, did undergrad and grad school in Boston. So this is my first time out here.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah,
this is another evolution for you.
exactly. Yeah. And there was a lot of salmon in this state. This is a big salmon state. So I feel like I fit right in.
That's so interesting. You're right. So okay, so you're a professor now. So then how does it work? You kind of do lectures or like what's the process?
I am teaching 2D animation classes right now.
That's
So my
amazing.
students are learning Adobe Animate and we're doing like ball bounces, we're doing some walk cycles, we're making some short movies, and it's just a blast. I really enjoy teaching.
What's your take on AI for animation?
It's a tough one because I know that it can accomplish so much and so much of the animation process is tedious. It takes a really long time to do.
Yeah,
So I think that there is a temptation to cut out some of that work. And plus, like with animation, there have always been like we've discovered ways to make things easier for us. Like we use computers now. It's a lot
yeah,
easier than like cutting up film with a pair of scissors. Um, but I think the magic of animation is how much effort goes into it and the human touch and the things that we make that only we can make. Like, I really hope that the film that I made with the fish on roller skates and the gay bar and the underwater tank set,
yeah.
I like to think that a computer could not have come up with
No,
that.
trust me, for
Yeah.
someone who sees a lot of AI animation, no way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it seems like
exactly. It's kind of
what
fun
I'm
to
learning
think.
is that 2D is making a comeback or stop motion is making a comeback, right? It's more and
Yeah.
more people like
Yeah.
yourself are making it.
Yeah, I think that there's really a push against it, or at least not against it, but more for human artists that are making things with their hands. I think we've kind of realized the value of that, or re-realized it.
Well, I talked to a couple of animation professors East Coast, but and based in New York, and they're using AI as like an assistant for the animator, right?
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah. So they're like so then because it's helping the animator out on its process. So
Cool.
because you can't, it's one of those things where it's like you can't. I don't know. It depends. Would be curious to see what happens to your job in like 5 years, which I'm sure
Right.
will like
Yeah.
because you can't kind of run away from it. You know what I mean? Like it's sort of
Exactly.
there, right? So
Exactly. Yeah. I think like whatever happens, it's going to be like we're gonna have to figure out how to coexist
yeah.
type of thing.
But all it is play. All AI is a version of plagiarism, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's
so
learning off of something.
it's learning off of something. So what you did in this film, it's totally original, right? So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but you just don't want it to be plagiarized.
I hope not.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Crossing
No,
my
but
fingers. Yeah.
yeah. Well, it seems like you're in a really good place, so you can get some funding, you can make some more films, hopefully, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I feel really good about it.
that's amazing. Well, I wish you the best. I think this is a fantastic film. I loved when
Thank
I
you.
got to see it, and yeah, I wish you the ultimate best of success. Looks like you're getting to a bunch of festivals already, so best of luck with everything, and make sure you keep in touch. I want to see your next film.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. This was really fun. Thank you for taking the time to chat.